In this lecture, I would like to discuss about chemical equilibria and thermodynamic parameters. So related to the chemical equilibrium or chemical equilibria, first of all, let us going to discuss about the reversible reactions and irreversible reactions. The topic is reversible and irreversible reactions. So what do you mean by irreversible reactions? In chemistry, we know that number of chemical reactions are takes place. In that number of chemical reactions, where some reactions are takes place in such a way that the reactants are almost completely converted into the reaction products, and the products of the reactions cannot recombine to produce the reactants back. Such reactions are called as irreversible reactions. What do you mean by irreversible reactions? Chemical reactions which takes place in such a way that the reactants are almost completely converted into the reaction products, and the products of the reactions cannot recombine to produce the reactants back. It means whatever the products are formed there, that products cannot recombine to produce the reactants backs. It means that reactions are takes place in one direction. For example, if we take two reactants A and B, A reacts with reactant B, and if there is the formation of the products C and D, then these two products cannot recombine to produce the reactant back. Such reactions are called as irreversible reactions. It means irreversible reactions are takes place in only one direction, forward direction. So let us see the example of the irreversible reactions. So reaction between sodium chloride and silver nitrate. So sodium chloride reacts with silver nitrate, as sodium chloride contain chloride ions and silver nitrate silver ions. So there is a formation of silver chloride precipitate. This arrow indicates in downward direction there is a formation of the silver chloride precipitate, and there is a formation of sodium nitrate. So this reaction is takes place only in one direction. The product such as silver chloride and sodium nitrate does not recombine and does not react to produce the reactant. So this reaction is a irreversible reaction. Another example, it is decomposition of potassium chlorate. So this is potassium chlorate, KClO3. When it is heated, suppose that if we have taken the potassium chlorate in a test tube, this is a solid substance, potassium chlorate. So if we have taken the potassium chlorate here in a test tube, and when this potassium chlorate is heated, uh, or we have to supply the heat to this, what happens? The potassium chlorate is converted into the potassium chloride, and oxygen gas is liberated here. So this reaction is takes place in one direction. The product which are formed not react, not recombine, and not converted into the reactant. So this is also the irreversible reaction. A very simple example I would like to give about the irreversible reaction between sodium hydroxide and HCl. reaction between sodium hydroxide and HCl. So this is a base, strong base, this is a strong acid, and it will give salt and solvent, that is sodium chloride, and water is formed there. So this is the neutralization reaction, and this neutralization reaction is also the irreversible reaction. So once again, see what are the irreversible reactions? Those reactions which are takes place only in one direction. The reactants are almost completely converted into the products, and the products of the reactions cannot recombine to produce the reactants back. So in such reactions, only the products are formed. Products are not reacted back to give the reactant. So such reactions are called as irreversible reactions. Now let us see the reversible reactions, opposite to that of irreversible. So what are reversible reactions? So chemical reactions in which the products can recombine. Chemical reactions in which the products can recombine under a similar set of conditions to give back the reactants. So if in a reaction, once the products are formed, products can recombine under a similar condition. Whatever the conditions are maintained there for that chemical reaction, that similar condition has to be maintained there, and that products recombine under a similar conditions to give back the reactants in a significant quantities are called reversible reactions. So let us represent the reversible reaction here. So the general reversible reaction can be represented in this way. Suppose if we have taken two reactants A and B, they are going to react. There is a formation of the product such as C and D. And if these products are recombined under a similar condition and it back to converted into the reactant. So there is a formation of the reactant due to the reaction between the C and D. And if the similar conditions are maintained there, so significant amount of the reactants are formed there. It means the products are reacts themselves, and there is a formation of the reactant bags. So such a reaction is called as reversible reaction. Such reactions are called as reversible reactions. For example, the reaction between nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas. The reaction between nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas. So we can represent this reaction in this way. The one molecule of nitrogen reacts with three molecules of the hydrogen gas, and there is a formation of two ammonia molecules. So ammonia molecule is a product here. So this ammonia molecule, when the conditions are maintained, it may be converted into the reactant bags. So this is the reversible reaction. Okay. Now let us see what is the difference between the reversible reaction and irreversible reactions. So let us say reversible reaction. The reactions can be started from either side. The reactions can be started from the either side. Means the reaction can be started from the both the sides, this side as well as this side. Irreversible reaction. The reactions can be started from the side only reactant. Okay. The reactions can be started from the side only the reactant. First of all, the reactant has to be react and then the product will be formed. In case of the reversible reaction, forward and backward reactions are at equilibrium. Okay, this is forward reaction and this is backward reaction. So forward and backward reactions are at equilibrium. In case of irreversible reaction, only forward reaction has to be takes place. You can see here, when the reaction between A plus B, it will gives only the product C and D. So this is the irreversible reaction. So only the forward reaction is takes place here. In this case, both forward as well as reverse reactions are takes place. Now reversible reactions are represented by an equilibrium arrow. Let us see, you can see here, this is the equilibrium arrow. And irreversible reactions are represented by normal arrow like this, only in one direction. Now the reaction is river to complete. The reaction proceeds to completion. In case of the irreversible reaction, once the product is formed, the reaction has been completed. But in case of the reversible reaction, the reaction river to complete. Okay, product is formed as well as reactants are formed there. So this is the difference between the reversible and irreversible reaction. So in one sentence, we can explain reversible reactions are those reactions which are takes place in two direction, forward direction as well as backward direction. And irreversible reactions are those reactions which are takes place only into the forward direction. That is, there is only the formation of the product. And in case of the reversible reaction, even though product is formed, that products themselves reacts with each other, and back there is a formation of the reactant. So this is about the reversible reaction and irreversible reaction. So related to this topic now, let us going to be discuss about the law of mass action and chemical equilibrium. So first of all, let us discuss what is the law of mass action. It is very important. The law of mass action correlates the rate of chemical reaction and the concentration of the reactant. The law of mass action correlates the rate of chemical reaction and the concentration of the reactants. Who has given this law of mass action? C.M. Goldberg and P. Weck suggested the relationship between the rate of the chemical reaction and concentration of the reactant. Suppose that when there is a reaction is takes place between the two reactant, so the rate of that chemical reaction, it is related to the concentration of the reactant. The rate of the chemical reaction, it is related to the concentration of the reactant. Many times it is observed that the rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactant. So let us see what is the law of mass action. The law of mass action states that at constant temperature, the law of mass action states that at constant temperature and pressure, the rate of the chemical reaction is directly proportional to the rate of the chemical reaction is directly proportional to the product of concentration of the reactants, each raised to power equal to corresponding to stoichiometric coefficient. Okay, each raised to power equal to corresponding stoichiometric coefficient. Now let us see this reaction. In this case, A moles of reactant A reacts with B moles of reactant B. This is reactant B. And there is a formation of the product C moles of product C and D moles of product D. So in this case, the law of mass action, we can make the statement. So according to the law of mass action, the law states that at constant temperature and pressure, temperature is constant, pressure is constant, the rate of this chemical reaction is directly proportional to the product of concentration of the reactants. The rate of the chemical reaction is directly proportional to the product of concentration of the reactants, each raised to power equal to corresponding to stoichiometric coefficient. You can see here the stoichiometric coefficient is A here, stoichiometric coefficient is B here. Okay, corresponding to the stoichiometric coefficient which appears in the balanced equation. So this is the balanced equation. You can see here A moles of A reacts with B moles of B reactant, and there is a formation of the product C moles of C and D moles of D. So the rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants raised to the power equal to its stoichiometric number. So let us write down the rate of the reaction here. So you can see the rate of the reaction is directly proportional to concentration of the reactant A raised to power A. the rate of this reaction. So you can see here rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration. We can write in this bracket represent the concentration of the reactant A raised to power A. This A is the number of moles of this A multiplied by the concentration of the reactant B raised to power B. Okay, now we can remove this proportionality sign here, and it is equal to K into concentration of the reactant A raised to power A and concentration of the reactant B raised to power B. So this is the rate of the reaction. Now in this case, K is called as a proportionality constant, or it is also called as a rate constant. The K, it is called as a rate constant, or it is also called as a proportionality constant. Okay, so let us see now. Consider a reversible reaction. Okay, we know this reversible reaction. This is a general reversible reaction. A moles of A reacts with B moles of B, and there is a formation of the product C moles of C and D moles of D. Now we can apply the law of mass action to this. So rate of the forward reaction, because this is now the reversible reaction. So we can write here rate of the forward reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactant A raised to power A. Concentration, the rate of the forward reaction, this rate of the forward reaction, it is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactant A raised to power A. This is the raised to power A, and multiplied by concentration of the reactant B raised to power A. It means that the rate of the reaction should depends upon the concentration of the reactant A and concentration of the reactant B, and stoichiometric number is A and B. Then rate of the reverse reaction, this reverse reaction, the rate of the reverse reaction, it is depends upon, this is the reverse reaction here. Now the reverse reaction is takes place when these products are going to react. Okay, so the rate of the reverse reaction or backward reaction, it is proportional to the concentration of the product C and concentration of the product D. So you can see here the rate of the reverse reaction or rate of the backward reaction. R stands for rate. So rate of the backward reaction, it is directly proportional to, it is proportional to, okay, concentration of the product C raised to power C and concentration of the product D raised to power D. Okay, rate of the backward reaction is proportional to the concentration of the product C raised to power C and concentration of the product D raised to power D. Or we can write in another way, rate of the backward reaction, it is equal to Kb, where Kb is a rate constant for the backward reaction, multiplied by concentration of the product C raised to power C and concentration of the product D raised to power D. Now suppose that there is a equilibrium. At equilibrium, the two rates becomes equal. That is, rate of the forward reaction becomes equal to rate of the backward reaction. So we can write at equilibrium the process. So Kf into concentration of A raised to power A, rate of the forward reaction becomes equal to this. So we have to write here rate of the backward reaction becomes equal to this. Okay, so we can rearrange this equation now. We can rearrange this equation now. So we can write here Kb upon Kf, it is equal to Kb upon Kf, it is equal to, so we can rearrange the equation. You can see here Kb or Kf upon Kb, it is equal to Kf upon Kb, it is equal to concentration of the product C raised to power C multiplied by concentration of the product D raised to power D, it is divided by concentration of the reactant A raised to power A and concentration of the reactant B raised to power B. Now in this case, Kf is a constant for forward reaction and Kb is a constant. So constant divided by constant, it is always equal to constant. So we can write here Kf upon Kb, rate constant for forward reaction divided by rate constant for backward reaction. It is another constant. So we can write here K. So therefore the above equation can be written as K, it is equal to concentration of the product C raised to power C into concentration of the product D raised to power D. This C and D should be small letter, divided by concentration of the reactant A raised to power A and concentration of the reactant B raised to power B. So in this case, K is a constant here, and this K is called as a equilibrium constant. This K is called as a equilibrium constant. So thus by using this equilibrium constant, or by using this equation, we can determine the equilibrium constant K. So on the basis of the law of mass equation, we can determine the equilibrium constant K. Okay. At equilibrium, the rate of the forward reaction becomes equal to the rate of the backward reaction. Both rates are equal. Rate of the forward reaction, this is, becomes equal to the rate of the reverse reaction. So therefore, rate of the forward reaction becomes equal to Kf into concentration of the reactant A raised to power A, concentration of the reactant B raised to power B. Rate of the backward reaction, that is known to us, Rb, it is equal to Kb into concentration of the product C raised to power C multiplied by concentration of the product D raised to power D. So by putting this, we are getting this equation, taking this ratio Kf upon Kb, rearranging this equation, and we are getting Kf upon Kb equal to this, but Kf is constant, Kb is constant, so constant divided by constant, it is equal to constant. So therefore we can write the equation K equal to this, concentration of the product divided by concentration of the reactant. So K is called as here the equilibrium constant. K is called as a equilibrium constant for the reversible reaction.